everything mattered to him. And he never cheated the game of basketball, never.
A heartfelt tribute.
I was so proud to have coached him.
As the basketball world keeps spinning for the men and women in the city of brotherly love.
Updated live and it starts right now. What is going on, Owl fans? Welcome inside a brand new edition of OwlSports Update. That is Brooklyn Vaughn. I am Dom Gillespie. We have got a great show coming your way.
Absolutely, a new soccer coach, a title for the women's basketball team. But first, the men's basketball team is happy to say goodbye to January.
Temple men's basketball team cannot seem to get their footing this season. Whether it's sloppy defensive play or a lack of offensive identity, this team is slowly being faded out of March. Things only got worse after Wednesday night when the Owls fell to UConn, and it marked their 6th loss in the AAC already this season. The Owls went on the road looking for a change of fortune, and they did not find it. Early offensive struggles made it hard for the Owls to even have a chance in this one. As you can see here, only 21 points in the first half compared to UConn's 38. Let me remind you, these teams had the same record coming into this one. And UConn was playing with only 7 scholarship players, and they started 3 freshmen, but it was still all Huskies. Christian Vitale led the Huskies with 15 points and 10 rebounds. So you can see it was not just one player pouring it on, it was the whole team. NPL with 20 and Q Rose with 15 on the night. So wrap up the month of January, where the Owls were just 1-7. The Temple captains are trying to do their part, but maybe it's another aspect of the team that isn't carrying its weight. The bench in the last few games has just not made an impact. 4 out of the last 5 games, the Owls bench has scored less than 11 points. In this game specifically, the Huskies bench, again, with just 7 players on scholarship overall, outscored Temple's bench 22-6. The Owls shot less than 40% from the field, and continuing the season's theme here, struggled from behind the arc yet again. The Owls will pick it up at the Leah Center on Saturday night against East Carolina, where the Owls will hope to make a push towards a better February. Taking a look around the rest of the American, both Houston and Tulsa are playing with just 1 loss. Overall, there are 6 teams within 2 games of each other, so it's still wide open. Some surprises on the bottom end, UCF and Temple. You would think, based on its history, that at least 3 or 4 AAC teams will make the dance.
That 1-7 record included a Big 5 game that the Owls would also like to forget on the road at Penn earlier this week, where the offense was nowhere to be found. It's another great Saturday afternoon in the Palestra. Well, that is for one Big 5 team. A.J. Brodeur with the deep 3 ball. Those are just 3 of the 19 points he put up in this one. Penn takes a dominating early lead, 14-2. Here's Monty Scott with the jump shot, and down it goes. Check this out. Nate Pierre-Louis jukes the defender, misses, but there's J.P. Moorman to clean up the mess. Penn has had enough at this point. The Quakers' Ray Jerome swats it back to North Broad. Penn's defense was dominant in this matchup. Jake Forrester, you know what they say, 3rd time's the charm. Penn has an answer though. There's Devin Goodman with the layup to increase Penn's lead. The Owls get tricky with another Nate fake and assist to Jake Forrester, who slams it home, but it just will not be enough. The Owls fall to the Quakers 66-59.
The Big 5 is known around the country for its rich history, and one of the division's biggest rivalries lies between Penn and Temple. This past Saturday marked the 74th meeting between the 2 schools, and even though Penn beat out the Owls this time, Temple leads the overall series with a record of 50-24. This meeting also marked the first time in 31 years that Fran Dunphy, aka Mr. Big 5, was not featured as a coach for one of these 2 teams.
And anytime you play at the Palestra, it's a special moment. We just mentioned that there was no Fran Dunphy roaming the sidelines this year, but of course he was in the house.
Now joining us on desk is OwlSports Update, Jenna Mealy, who was at the game. Hey, Jenna.
Thanks, guys. This past Saturday, I traveled to the Cathedral of College Basketball to cover the 74th men's Big 5 matchup between the Temple Owls and the University of Pennsylvania Quakers. And it was an emotional one, even before the tip-off. It's the pomp and circumstance basketball fans have come to expect from the Big Five. Temple and Penn, and a Big Five legend on hand. 310 wins for Penn over 17 years and 270 wins for Temple over 13 years. So Coach Dunphy won either way on Saturday while watching his two former teams. But that's where the fun ends if you're a Temple fan.
It didn't really feel good. I mean, we all missed shots early, so it's like there was a lid on the basket, so.
With the Owls starting off scoreless for the first 9.5 minutes and going on to shoot 23 for 75 from the field, today's game boils down to missed opportunities. In fact, the Owls were down 14 points before they scored a single basket. But despite their efforts, they couldn't find their stride.
It's starting to become routine when you look at the stat sheet and, Q's 10 for 25, JP's 2 for 8, and Alani's 1 for 6, and Nate's 2 for 12, and you can go down the list, and that's where our trouble starts, for us.
The Owls have struggled since the turn of the new decade and need to find the team that was 9-3 in 2019.
Really, I just want to try to keep those guys together and keep them with positive thoughts in their head because, we all want to be winners, and I try to make a point of telling those guys you're a winner.
The Owls now have 11 games left to find their winning ways, and they're all against either Big Five schools like Villanova or AAC opponents. Next up, they face the East Carolina Pirates this Saturday. Reporting from the news desk, I'm Jenna Mealy. Dom, back to you.
Thanks, Jenna. Great stuff. It's been tough to be a basketball fan, player or coach this week, especially in Philadelphia and the suburb of Lower Merion. It was with a heavy heart on Sunday afternoon when we learned the devastating news that basketball legend Kobe Bryant had died in a helicopter crash on the way to his daughter's basketball practice. Kobe, his daughter Gigi, and 7 others died in the crash. 2 guys who knew Kobe pretty well include Temple men's coach Aaron McKee. The two played with and against each other in the NBA. And there is also Kobe's high school coach at Lower Merion, Greg Downer.
It was being out on the floor and you come and you stand next to him. Hey, Kobe, what's happening, man? How you doing? How's the family, man? How's your mom? How's your dad? And how's your sisters? And he would do this. And keep playing. After the game, he'd come up to you. Hey, man, my dad is good, my mom is good, my sisters, and it was just like, wow, you could have said that during the game, but it was his mental focus and how he was just so locked in to the game and just wanting to win. Everything mattered to him, and he never cheated the game of basketball, never.
I was so proud to have coached him, so proud every time I saw him, and never saw a human being seek excellence like him. I love you, Kobe Bean Bryant. Thank you for all you have done for me, for the Lower Merion basketball, and for the world. Rest in peace.
Kobe was a role model and inspiration to many around the world, and we have no doubt that his legacy will continue to live on. Kobe Bryant was 41. OwlSports Update will be right back. Welcome back to OwlSports Update. Let's take you to Pearson McGonigal Hall on Thursday as the Penn Quakers traveled across the city to take on the Owls. Sophomore Marissa Mackins battles her way to the net to give the Owls an early lead. The Quakers need a spark, and Alea Parker finds it. She beats Alexa Williamson to the net, and Penn is ready to rally. Katie Kinham drains it from the outside of the paint, and the Quaker crowd loves it. Ashley Jones joins the three-point party, and the Owls are back in control on both sides of the ball. Check this out. Lena Niang with the defensive play of the game. She's able to tip the ball and break away to lengthen the Owls' lead. That'll seal the deal for this one. Owls beat the Quakers 76-72.
Staying at Pearson McGonigal, the Owls welcomed conference opponent UCF into town on Wednesday night. Picking up in the first quarter here, Marissa Mackins having her way, fighting into the lane for the tough basket. Owls on top early. UCF trying to answer here, feed it inside to Massini Kaba for an easy 2 as the Knights try to fight back into this one. Into the fourth quarter, Ashley Jones greens a 3. Bingo, Owls are up 4. Less than a minute to go now. Georgia Gailey drills the three to bring the Knights within one. We have a game here. The Owls are up 2, and the Knights come down the court, and they find Sienna Martin with a chance to tie. No good. Temple survives UCF by a score of 67-65 and improved to 5-3 in the American.
13 wins so far this season. That's already more than all of last season's 11 wins and the season before with just 12 Owls wins. We are now joined by Courts in Session anchor Bryant Steinmetz, who is at the TV3 studio set to talk about this surprising resurgence. Hey, Brian.
Hey guys, yeah, this women's team is certainly taking people by surprise. At the beginning of the season, people thought the men's team would be rolling and the women would struggle, but it's been the exact opposite. If you take a look at the AAC conference standings, you'll see Temple as one of the teams right in the thick of things here, as after UConn, the standings sort of bunch up. The Owls have been able to catch victories over some of the average teams in the conference, but have yet to prove themselves against the top teams with losses to UConn, Cincy, and Wichita State. Much of the team's success has come at the hands of their 2 stars, Ashley Jones and Mia Davis. Look at Mia Davis, nearly averaging 20 points per game, along with her 11 rebounds. She's had a double-double in 6 of her last 8 games. Remember, at the start of the season, she said she wanted to take that next step as a leader for this program. Well, you can check that off of the list. Looking ahead, Davis and the Owls will try and boost their conference resume when they take on Wichita State, USF, and Houston in early February. Remember, the Owls already have 3-point wins against USF and Houston, with a 2-point loss coming against the Shockers. That's 3 tight games with these 3 rematches coming up very soon. As it stands right now, it'll be tough for the women to make the tournament in March. But of course, the surefire way to lock in a bid to the tournament is to win the AAC Conference Tournament, which is a lot easier said than done, of course, when Gino Ariema and the UConn Huskies stand in the way. As it stands now, the women's NIT is a good bet. Reporting from the TV3 studio set, I'm Brian Steinmetz. Guys, back to you.
Thank you so much, Brian. Unfortunately, it's time to take another timeout.
But do not worry, we have plenty more in store after the break, including a new coach for the women's soccer team.
Plus, I'm Lindsay Moppert, and when OwlSports Update returns, I will tell you about a cheerleading trip to Orlando, some sun, fun, and plenty of hardware to bring home from that national competition. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to OwlSports Update. And a new coach on North Broad, Nick Bouchette, takes over. He boasted a 29-24-6 record as a head coach for Albany. Before that, he was also the interim head coach for 1 year and an associate head coach for 3 more years. In all, he took the Danes to 3 conference titles and 3 NCAA tournament appearances. Bouchette takes over for Seamus O'Connor, who left the program last fall.
And now turning to the men's side, the Owls lost a pair of stars this past season to graduation, and now they are turning their time at Temple into professional soccer careers. Simone Lefebvre was drafted 21st overall in the MLS Super Draft, making him the first player in school history to be selected in the first round. Lucas Fernandez has signed a 1-year contract with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds with a team option for the 2nd season. Both players made a significant impact for the Owls and look to do the same for their clubs.
Many of us here at OwlSports Update are involved in other activities on campus. That includes our own Lindsay Moppert, who in her 2nd year with the cheerleading team.
This past week, Lindsay and company were on the road for a national competition. And she joins us now at McGonigal Hall to tell us all about this trip. Hi, Lindsay.
Hey guys, although you may only see us on the sidelines cheering on other teams, we spend countless hours in this gym preparing for that one moment to shine for ourselves. Just about 2 weeks ago, we headed down south to compete in the national competition. Here is a behind-the-scenes look at our journey, starting at the Liacouras Center and ending at the ESPN Arena. Out here at the Liacouras Center, we're about to get on the bus and head to the airport. Day 1, we are headed to our first practice of the day.
Let's race! Remember what we're doing.
number 2 of the day in the books. Couldn't get any video in there. Just a little crowded, a little busy.
Very chaotic.
We have a meeting at 11. Day 2, time for breakfast.
Practice done, now it's time to rage.
What day is it?
Get it low.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, that was Temple University.
Honestly, we feel great after that performance. I know we were all really excited to get out there and show everyone our routine.
And now we have to wait until like 10 o'clock until awards!
Second place goes to Temple University.
Let's go.
So that was a second place finish out of 9 teams in the game day all-girl 1A division. That was the program's first ever second place finish. Reporting live from McGonigal Hall, I'm Lindsay Maubert. Dom in Brooklyn, back to you.
Gee, Florida really looks fun this time of year, doesn't it?
No kidding.
Thanks so much, Lindsay. It's time for us to take our last break of the day.
But do not go anywhere. When we get back, our diamond plays, and we are taking it way back to bowl season. And we're going to talk about all of the AAC and how they went bowling. Welcome back to OwlSports Update and some golf in this winter weather we're having. The Owls played their best golf of the very end of last season with a 5th place finish out of 10 teams in the AAC. It is ultimately their goal to improve upon this in 2020, and OwlSports Update's Liam Andel has a preview.
Late January, the coldest time of the year. So why not? Temple Golf is outside in the 30s, getting ready for what will be a much warmer spring season. It's golf in the Northeast.
It's above like 35, 40 degrees. We're out there playing, practicing.
Is it a perfect situation being in the Northeast and trying to be a really top-notch Division I golf program? It's not ideal, but we have done it, and we will continue to work to do it again.
The Temple men's golf team faces many adversities in the upcoming season, but that certainly isn't going to stop their push for success.
This push starts in late February with a trip down to South Carolina. It's one of the many trips south the Owls will take this season.
In northern school, it's a lot harder to practice like an outdoor sport, but we just got to take advantage of what warm weather we have. So this past week, we've been out playing like every single day.
My job as the coach and my assistant, Matt Teasdale's job, is to develop these kids the right way so they can manage their game.
Reporting from BQ Golf Academy in Plymouth Meeting, I'm Liam Andel, OwlSports Update.
Great swing. Thanks so much, Liam. While the college football season officially ended over 2 weeks ago, Brooklyn and I thought it would be fun to go back to our football roots and see how the American Conference fared in bowl season.
Absolutely. And remember, there was a total of 7 AAC teams that were bowl eligible at the end of last season. We all know how the Owls finished out in Annapolis, but how about the rest of the conference? Let's go ahead and talk about it.
We'll pick it up with the first game here. SMU was living the dream down in Florida in the Boca Raton Bowl, where they took on FAU. Sadly for Temple fans, the Florida Atlantic Owls were the only Owls to take down SMU this year. FAU would win that one 52-28.
And you know, let's talk about Temple really quick. If Temple fans even want to remember this one, it was not a pretty scene at the Military Bowl down in Annapolis, where the Owls fell to the Tar Heels of North Carolina Final score 55-13.
That sure was a rough one. After that was the highest-ranked AAC bowl game where the Memphis Tigers took on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Memphis was ranked without their head coach Mike Norvell, who took a job at Florida State. No shock here as they fell to Penn State 53-28 in the Cotton Bowl.
And on December 23rd, UCF, led by freshman quarterback Dylan Gabriel, of course, defeated Marshall in the Gasparilla Bowl. The Knights jumped out to an early 21-0 lead, and they never looked back. Final score out of Tampa, 48-25.
Next up, the Navy Midshipmen were taking on the Kansas State Wildcats. The Midshipmen were riding a 4-game win streak coming into the Liberty Bowl. However, they were cut down by the Wildcats in this one by a score of 28-20.
And the Birmingham Bowl, the Eagles of Boston College were grounded by the number 21 Cincinnati Bearcats. For me, this was one of the most memorable bowl games, Dom, and I'm not just saying that because of the football. Just moments into the game, the Birmingham Bowl went into a 1 hour and 32-minute lightning delay. Crazy stuff, but the final score out of Alabama, Cincinnati 38 out on top and Boston College 6.
Last game coming out of the AAC, the Tulane Green Wave rode into Fort Worth, Texas to take on Southern Miss in the Armed Forces Bowl. Tulane dropped their last 3 games of the season, but they threw all that in the rear view, ran the table in this one, beating Southern Miss by a score of 30-13. Overall, the AAC posted a record of 3-4 this postseason, so the Owls weren't the only ones who didn't show up in their big game at the end of the season.
Absolutely. And Dom, do I miss football season and inside the nest? Hey, but we are going to. I'm glad we're able to look back on this football stuff, but we've got plenty in store. Let's not get too caught up. There's so much to talk about. When we get back, it's time for a new segment to cap off our show, one we like to call Diamond Plays, a.k.a. our Plays of the Week.
Has it picked, and a jam by Rose.
In steel against the Penn Quakers earlier this week. Let's take another look at that one. The poor ball handler never had a chance. Roll steals it, flushes it home before the team even knows what's going on. The Owls need more plays like this from Temple's 10th all-time scorer moving forward.
All right, Diamond Play number 2. Sticking on the courts, but taking a look now at the women's team. My Diamond Play is going to Lena Niang. I'll say it again, this was the best defensive play of the week. Slow it down and run it back, please. Thank you. It takes everything in her to get a hand on that ball, but she gets it done. What a way for the Owls to seal that win over UPenn at home.
Diamond Play number 1, Brooklyn. Do you know how much I love this gymnastics team?
Yes, I do.
Is Jordan Oyster's floor routine at a tri-meet in West Virginia. She sticks the landing. Let's take another look at that one. She lands a double pike. I challenge any football player or basketball player for that matter to give this one a try in their free time. I bet they couldn't. I know I could not. Unfortunately, that'll do it for this duo's first time on desk.
Don't forget to tune into Owl Sports Update next week and keep your eye out for Courts in Session and Owl Access Pass on all of our social media platforms. For Dom Gillespie and our entire crew, I'm Brooklyn Vaughn. We'll see you next time.